Zel Boy Army, welcome to another spicy one on the channel. This video today is going to be a follow-up to the icon scandal that I did about 2 days ago. For anyone who didn't catch that video, the long story short is it's been suggested, somewhat seems pretty almost certain at this point from what I've seen on Twitter, what I've been hearing from different people I know, that some EA employees, it might be employee, have been privately charging people to be able to put icons or Team of the Years into people's accounts. Effectively, we already know for certain that EA have the ability to put any card into anybody's account at any time if they want to. Don't have an issue with that. That's something that we already knew about. But what's being said is that EA employees or employee, we don't know the names and I wouldn't accuse anyone without knowing, but certain people who have access to be able to do this have been privately on some like icon black market, have been selling this right to other people. It's been rumored it's like $1,000 and they'll put any two moment icons into your account. Obviously, the repercussions of that and what that means for the game itself, there's a lot we could talk about with that. And I did most of that in the first video. Today's video is going to be more about what EA might do about this, what I think EA could do, what I think they should do, and just discussing the whole kind of idea in general as well. EA did this tweet. I wasn't sure if EA would even acknowledge it, but I guess it got so big and blew up so much that EA didn't really have a choice at this point. National newspapers in the UK were writing articles about it. Sky's News were doing articles about it. Big YouTubers like MyHD Gamer have brought attention to it. So I guess EA probably at that point felt they needed to, at the very least, address it. Before we read out this tweet or graphic that EA tweeted, I just want to get something across as well. In the video I put, quite a lot of people are commenting saying, yes, EA maybe are at fault somewhat here, but people like you, Zel, who are pros, who have access to EA, it's your fault too. You guys need to be doing more to stop situations like this. And honestly, I just think it's a bit naive when people say stuff like this. I'll just tell you how it is. For me, I got into this job to help people improve at the game. I never even thought it would become a job for me. Every bit of content I put out, I try and make as genuine and authentic as I can. You'll probably notice a lot of my videos, they're not properly edited. And that, honestly, somewhat, I'll be honest, is a little bit of laziness because it would take a lot longer to proper edit any like coughs and things like that. But it's also because when I slip up or something, I want you to see it and see it's genuinely, this is just me. What you see is what you get with me. I try and make the most genuine, authentic content I can for you guys. Talking about this situation for me, honestly, as well, there's not really much upside to it. I just want the community to know about this type of stuff. And I want FIFA to be the best game it can be. Like you guys, I love FIFA. I got into it as a job because I love the game and I want the best for the game. But I had people commenting on the video saying things like, people like you spend money on the game, Zell, who don't tell EA how it is, blah, blah, blah. You're the issue. To me, that's just bullshit. Like, what do you think this video and the last video was about? I did a video about a month or two ago that was 70 minutes long, discussing every issue in depth with the game. That video took me about 5 hours of prep, writing some sort of script to not lose train of thought about it. It took me a long time to make that video. I'm not just doing this just because it's a laugh for me. I care about the game and I'm trying my absolute best to make it the best it can be. I have certain levels of access to people, like the head of EA gameplay, like the main gameplay producer, Tom Kalefi. Sometimes I'll message him with feedback and ideas, and he's a very nice guy. And he'll respond to me, and he's very easy to talk to. Doesn't necessarily mean everything I say he's going to do, because it's not. He doesn't have to listen to what I say. I'm not the oracle of FIFA who knows everything, but I've given him ideas of things they could do to improve the game before, and he responds to me and he says, we'll have a look at that. Sometimes he said, great idea, we'll definitely try to do that. Gameplay, I'll always try my best to give good feedback. I try to be reasonable all the time about content. Like, sometimes I'll say the SBCs are an absolute joke, they're awful. Sometimes I'll say they're good. Sometimes you guys will disagree with me, but I try to be fair and balanced. This channel's never going to be a channel where all I do is slate EA or all I do is praise EA. I'll be honest and take each situation, be it this type of scandal, gameplay, content, and try and be fair and balanced about it. But like with this scandal, blaming content creators, pros like me, is just stupid. I've brought light to it and tried my best to hold EA accountable to it with the little influence I have compared to a multi-billion-dollar company. Yes, I have certain level of access more than the just average player does, but I don't have that much. I can tell EA things. I do videos like this publicly to try bring stuff like this across. I've spoke to journalists in the past about stuff. I also give good comments about EA, and I'll be fair and balanced. But blaming people like me when I'm doing my best to make this game the best it can be, that's not really fair, and I don't really get why people do that. For me, this channel, I try my best about the content you guys want, help you guys improve. Yes, I make a living from this, but I got into this helping people without ever making a living from it. The fact that you guys support me and bless me with that support to help me put out this type of content and be able to make a good living from this, I really do appreciate that, and I don't take that for granted. But at the same time, blaming people like me when I'm doing everything I can to make the game the best it can be isn't really fair. Anyway, this tweet here from EA saying, "We are aware of the allegations currently circulating within our community related to FIFA 21 Ultimate Team Items." So this is the Icons Team of the Years. They say a thorough investigation is underway, rightfully so, and if we identify improper conduct, we will take swift action. We want to be clear, this type of behaviour is unacceptable, and we know in no way condone what is alleged to have happened here. So obviously EA are not going to say anything's happened without definitive proof. They say, "We understand how this creates concern about unfair balance in the game and competition. We will update the community as we get more clarity on the situation." Reasonable response from EA. I don't expect that. This came out 2 days ago on the day that it happened, and it was starting to get attention. I don't expect EA there and then to say, "This is what we're going to do about it. We're going to give you all a free icon. We've sacked this person." I don't expect that. They're a company that are on the stock market. They have to deal with these things properly. They have processes. That's completely reasonable. Obviously, I hope this isn't the only thing we hear from EA, and I'm going to suggest some things that maybe they could do to make this right. But for me, yeah, I don't really know what they're going to do with this. I think most likely what EA will do is probably say, "We found out it was one employee, like a rogue employee, who was doing this type of stuff, and he's been punished or sacked, and it won't happen again." Or they're going to put strict, like, when someone who works at EA puts a card into someone's account, basically, I think from what I gather, they have to fill out like some online form to say that they've done it. But maybe put stricter measures in the future that'll keep a proper track and record of who's distributed what cards. And then if someone's doing something dodgy, it'll be obvious. I don't know what their protocol security is, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't be able to discuss it, obviously. But yeah, hopefully stuff like this won't happen in the future. Because simply put, it's not fair that there's people spending thousands on the game, and then people are spending way less on some icon black market getting cards that are just inaccessible, unobtainable. It's also been discovered that certain people who play in the pro qualifiers have been getting free cards given to them by EA as well. Like, people have come out and said this is true. I also know that someone that I've coached for a long time who I trust, I know I saw his team a week ago, and then I saw his team a couple of days ago. He got given free icons, R9, Pele, and Hullet, by someone from EA. He paid them, and I believe this guy. I trust him. I don't think he'd lied to me, and I know his team a week ago, and I've seen his team now. So for me, it's pretty definitive at this point that this has been going on, and something really does need to be done about it. Some of the suggestions that I have how EA could fix it: give everyone one free moments icon pack. This doesn't really affect the market much because it would be untradeable, and the chance of packing anything absolutely fantastic is not very high. The likelihood of EA doing that, very, very low. But honestly, I don't think that would be unreasonable in giving some love back to the community. People spend a lot of time and money on this game, and it's a slap in the face to the community when people are just able to get these best cards by spending far less. The debate of whether people should spend money or not, that's another one. For me, if you like the game, it's your hobby, spend what you want. No one should be telling other people what they should spend the money on or not spend the money on, in my opinion. But honestly, I think that would be reasonable. Also, it's nearly mid-March now. At this point in the game, giving everyone that, Doesn't really affect the market too much. The most drastic thing I've heard people say is EA should refund everyone the FIFA points they spent this year. That is never going to happen. I also think it would be too much, to be honest, but that's just not going to happen. EA will have made a lot of money this year. They're not going to do that, and I don't think they should either, so I think that one's off the board. Middle ground on that is that EA should give people the FIFA points they've spent back already this year. Not refund them, but if you say got 12,000 points this year, they'll put another 12,000 points in your account. One, I definitely don't think that'll happen either. If they did that, but made it so you had to spend the points on this game, I don't think that'd be too unreasonable. They won't do it, but I don't think that'd be too far. They definitely won't do it, though, where they just give you whatever points you spent this year and it's on your account and you can use, because then some people just wouldn't spend it and would save it for next FIFA, and EA would lose money on next FIFA. They are a business. They are a company. There is, most likely, there's a chance it's just one or two or a few employees who've done this. So I don't think EA should lose billions of profit because of this. But they need to do something to make up to the community who've been let down by this. Pros, honestly, you guys might disagree with this, but this is just my opinion. Pros who've been screwed over and cheated, and for pros, it's not just a game, it's a career. Pros should get some sort of refund on the points they've spent. For me, I would just run a road to glory and not spend a penny on this game if I could. But for me, I have to spend to try compete. If my team's not good enough, it's just impossible to compete at the highest level on this game. And it's not fair that I'm trying to spend thousands to compete for my career when other people are getting stuff for free. And EA should do something separate with the pros, in my opinion, to try fix that. But in general, for me, like the Moments Icon Pack would be the most reasonable. I think EA should start releasing more icon SBCs, putting up Moments icons in draft to make icons more accessible, like they said all along they would do this year. This has been, for me, one of the least accessible years for icons, and EA need to do something to address that before the game just dies. At the very least, EA should be giving people free Jumbo Rare Players packs and stuff like that. For me, when companies make mistakes, they should own up to it and do make rights. Honestly, I accept that mistakes can happen. But what happened with this icon scandal is just a joke. And for me, it is on EA. Even if it's just a few individual employees, this shit would not happen. It just would not happen if the pay-to-win FIFA point system that is in place wasn't like it, how it is. The fact that an R9 is so rare and hard to get that even if you've spent stupid money and have 50 million coins, you can barely see him on the market because he's so rare, that people are driven to go to some icon black market and pay random EA employees to do this. This system, that only happens because EA have put a system in place that allows it to happen. EA need to do something in the future to address the balance and competition on this game. For me, those are my thoughts on the video. Like I say, my content is all about, one, trying to help you guys get better, and two, hopefully making FIFA a better game. I appreciate you guys' support as always. Love you guys. Thank you for all you do helping me make this my career. Appreciate you. Keep it spicy.